Chennai. Let's get you a reality check of Chennai's contaminated water. It is said the Pallavaram or Periya, also known as the Big Lake, was once a sprawling water body spread over nearly 200 acres. But today it has become a small patch on the lines of a pond on one side and a hillock of garbage on the other. The lake falls under the Pallavaram municipality, and the residents claim that an underground sewage line running the lake area contaminates it. They complain of foul smell, skin-related issues and other respiratory issues, and have blamed the state government agencies for having done nothing at all to save this lake.
காவா இப்போ ரொம்ப குழந்தைங்களை ரொம்ப பாதிக்குது. எங்களுக்கே அரிக்கிறது, உடம்பு ரொம்ப அரிக்கிறது, ஒரே நாற்றம், ஒன்றும் சாப்பிட கூட முடிய மாட்டேங்குது. வயசான காலத்தில் ஏதாவது சாப்பிடலான்னா கூட சாப்பிட மாட்டேங்குது. அதெல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் பார்த்து சரிப்படுத்தணும்.
ரொம்ப நாளாவே இந்த காவா இப்படி தான் இருக்கு. வந்து பார்த்துட்டு போறாங்க, ஆனால் சரி பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. பண்ற மட்டும் சொல்றாங்காட்டி ஆனால் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. இப்படியே தான் இருக்கு. இப்போ கூட கொஞ்ச நாளைக்கு முன்னாடி வந்து பார்த்துட்டு போனாங்க. ஆனால் வந்து காவை சரி பண்ணி தரேன், உங்களுக்கு காவெல்லாம் போட்டு தரேன், தண்ணி வசதிலாம் பண்ணி தரேன் அப்படின்னா ஆனால் பண்ணுறதே இல்லை. அப்படியே தான் இருக்கு. வந்து பார்த்துட்டு தான் போகிறாங்க. கொசு வருது, ரொம்ப கொசு வீட்டுக்குள்ளெல்லாம் வருது, மெல்லு வருது. ரொம்ப பசங்கள்லாம் வச்சுக்கின்னு இருக்கவே முடியல.
நோய் வருது, கொஞ்சம் உடம்பு சரியாமல் போயிடுது. அடிக்கடி டாக்டர் போய் பார்க்க வேண்டியதாக இருக்குது. வந்து பாருறாங்க, அதிகாரிங்க யாரும் எது நடவடிக்கை எடுக்க மாட்டோம், செய்ய மாட்டேன்றாங்க. அப்படியே தான் இருக்குது.
வீட்டுக்குள்ளே நாற்றம் அடிக்குமா?
ஃபுல்லாக நாற்றம் அடிக்கணுமா? வீட்டுக்குள்ளே நாற்றம் வருது, எல்லாம் காத்தடிச்சா ஃபுல்லாக வீட்டுக்குள்ளே ஃபுல்லாக நாற்றம் வருது. அப்படியே
இது எவ்வளோ வருஷமா இந்த மாதிரி இருக்கு? நீங்கள் எவ்வளோ தடவை?
இது ரெண்டு வருஷம் 3 வருஷமா அது முனிசிபாலில் வரும், கார்பரேஷன் வந்து பாக்குறாங்க, எம்எல்ஏ வந்தார், எம்சி வந்தால் வந்து பார்த்துறாங்க, செய்ய மாட்டாங்க.
Of course, we heard about the apathy that is what Chennai is dealing with. Joining us to talk more about this, we have Apsara Reddy and C. Rajashekharan. Thank you so much for joining us. I would like to start with Apsara. Ma'am Reddy, you know, we saw that Tamil Nadu and Chennai had its first civic polls in 11 years earlier this year, and with DMK winning most of the seats, what do you think? Has that party done enough to help the people of this corporation?
First of all, I'm not Apsara Reddy, so if you meant to be talking to her, you needed to have contacted her. So I'm not sure if you want me or my opinions here anyway. Please get your stuff right and then call me back. Thank you.
Kasturi, hi. I'm really sorry, but I think there was a little bit of a confusion, but we're just glad that you are with us, and I would like to apologize on behalf of me and the team, but we would like to speak to you definitely, and all your views are welcomed. Please
Do you know
share.
my name?
Kasturi Shankar?
Right, okay. Do you know who I am? May I have you been informed? Because it's kind of weird to be on live national television and
Yes.
been mistaken for completely somebody else. In fact, especially Apsara Reddy.
No,
we
ma'am.
have so many differences between the two of us.
Of course,
sure.
ma'am. Of course. And we also actually have her joining us, and she's supposed to join us on the phone line. And of course, I'm aware who you are, and we're glad to have you on our show. But we would really like to ask you then a different question, since I'm sure this is not something that a topic which you would like to answer. But so let me start by asking you that about the Chennai Lake situation. Do you think that the government, whether it is the ruling government or the corporation, has been doing enough to help in this situation?
I read somewhere, I was reading about water bodies in Chennai after the last flood in Chennai, and I read that almost 2,400 acres of water bodies have disappeared in Chennai between 1979 and 2016. So less than 50 years, and we've already lost 2,500 acres acres of water bodies, lakes, reservoirs, rivers have been polluted. So this is obviously not a political thing. If anything, all the parties who have been in power have been very equally apathetic to the situation. Velachery, which is something in my memory. We have seen a lake disappear there. Now we are watching the Pallikaranai marshlands disappear. So Palavaram is nothing new. In fact, I think that there is a little bit of water left there because there is still a lake left there because it's not turned into a huge housing complex, or worse still, an education institution. Because in Chennai and outskirts, usually lakes become colleges. That's what happens. So this is not new to us, and am I going to? Do I think that things are going to be set right away because there's a new government in place? Absolutely not. Politicians will be politicians, and civic servants will be civic servants, and bureaucrats will be bureaucrats, and government apathy will be government apathy. People are also to blame. Um, in the last 10 years alone, the amount of plastic debris being thrown into waterways with scant regard to consequences has more than quintupled, and nobody really takes responsibility for that. People will say that our waterways stink, but somewhere along the line, they have contributed to the problem, and they will, you know, nobody is responsible for killing our waterways. That's how people need awareness. So a couple of days ago, we had a huge clogging problem in my part of the city, and the corporation workers who came out on a Sunday, working out in the hot summer Chennai sun, they were forced to pull out condoms and sanitary napkins, and these are the biggest problems. There's plastic bags that are thrown completely with whatever is inside, everything, lock, stock, and barrel. So it will definitely result in something of huge consequences by and by and by, and then the repair takes forever.
Right, fair point. Kasturi, I just want to also ask you that in this, Chennai's long history of vanishing lakes and other water bodies, right? Of course, due to heavy urbanization. But do you think that the way, of course, we have seen disturbing visuals of people dumping a lot of plastic by the lakes also. But apart from that, do you think that so much of urbanization is also to blame because of the way we are treating our water bodies in this city?
Not just urbanization, it's also illegal encroachment, it's corruption. The system is completely, it's not just Pallavaram Lake that stinks, our system stinks. So we've got people building houses where they shouldn't have houses. We've got people getting permits where they shouldn't be getting permits. We've got people redrawing the map of Chennai where they shouldn't be drawing maps of Chennai. So everybody in the system does what they can according to their ability and capacity. So if it's a rich, powerful education mafia, he'll take over a lake and build a college over it. He'll take over a lake and build a hospital over it. If it is somebody less than that, they will just take money and give certificates. They will give permits. And if it is the poor guy, he will just go encroach on it without asking anyone. So frankly, it's everybody. It's the entire system that stinks. So Pallavaram Lake is just a complete reflection of what the Chennai municipal bodies have descended into.
Right, right. At this point, maybe I would like to bring in Mr. Rajashekharan. Apart from the citizens movement, Rajashekharan, or of course at Mirror now, since we are running this and trying to bring attention to this topic, what kind of legal recourse should be taken to address this issue? Of course, as Kasturi has already shared, that the entire system is corrupt. It's not just one party to be blamed. So who are the stakeholders here, and is there any legal provision for us to take a course to chart?
Yes, Raksha, it's a good, valid point you have raised. Humpty number of times, the Honorable Madras High Court, even the Honorable Supreme Court, have come heavily on the parties which have ruled and ruling the states of any any state which has encroached into the water bodies and the public properties, especially in Tamil Nadu, as rightly pointed out by Kasturi, uh, 24,000 acres, and there were 300 to 400 lakes in and around Chennai city have been encroached by the politicians and the political parties and their people, and they have sold it to private players and the people who are in need of those illegal lands, which subsequently was given pata or whatever documents they created, all with the help of politicians, connivance with the politicians and the local authorities. Everybody are out to be blamed. But again, it's very pathetic and sad that we keep on blaming every politician, every party, and the people also are involved in this whole encroachment racket. And nobody is able to do anything because without the help of the government of the day, whichever government, ADMK and DMK had ruled it for nearly 55 years, more than 5 decades, and they are the sole reason behind it. And all the lakes have been made into either um, colleges or buildings, malls, whatnot. Everything has been built on the lakes only. So if you are going to bring back all that into the old natural lake, it is impossible and nothing is going to happen. We can only debate on Mirror Now. Thanks to Mirror Now for highlighting this issue. At least the existing lakes, we have only some 10 to 15 lakes in existence now. The Porur Lake, the Chembarambakam Lake, the Pallavaram Lake, all this. In Maduravayil, it was 35 acres of lake, which is now 1 acre of lake area, which is left. Everything was encroached. So like this, at least we can conserve, preserve these lakes with the help of Mirror Now and other NGOs and people who are willing to do selfless service to save these water bodies are definitely required to bring back all this into lakes, which helps to give water to the resident, because the population has increased multiple times and the lands encroached, the lakes encroached have also increased. And where we are going to get water? Water, it's summer now. Water scarcity is going to hit heavily, especially the Chennai city people. And there is no water level. It's already gone down, the water level of Chennai city. And all this is going to become a huge, huge issue for the people and the government, how they are going to face this issue. There is no roadmap or there is no nothing to help the people if they face the water crisis. After 2015 floods, we have not learnt lessons. We have not learnt anything from the natural calamities. So where we are heading? We are just sitting here debating and we are blaming either the DMK or ADMK. Nothing has been done at the ground zero. Very unfortunate and sad. We have to conserve the lakes. We have to preserve whatever is now in existence and ensure that people are also responsible in bringing back all this into the safe hands. That's what my wish and my prayer.
Right, absolutely, Rajashekharan. Absolutely, yes. But as you rightly said, it is very crucial to save the lakes of Chennai, which is exactly also why we are running this campaign on Mirror Now. But just one question coming back to you, Mr. Rajashekharan, that when you speak about buildings being built, when Kasturi earlier spoke about illegal encroachment, can you shed some light in very specific law terms? What kind of provisions do we have in our legal system for us to raise our voices?
See, these kind of encroachments, which are in connivance with the authorities, the political parties at helm of affairs which is ruling the state now and then, and they give all kinds of documents to establish that these lakes encroached become a regular land or regular property or encroached property legalized, and they, with the help of all these authorities, they claim that they have paid whatever they wanted and they get it. Of course, they pay bribe also, which is very important. And the politicians who are held responsible for all this, they sell the public property, the lakes, the other public lands to the private parties, the individuals, and also the land mafia, which operates everywhere, all over the country. And in Chennai, it is too alarming. And if you go for a legal remedy, or if you approach the courts, we need the help of the government. We need the help of the authorities to take back these lands, which is next to impossible, because it has become high-raised buildings. Somewhere you have a lot of houses very closely built, and you have colleges, schools, and everything with all relevant documents created, or they establish through their contacts and power. So all this, it is a very difficult task, and we cannot just bulldoze it by saying that no, no, you have encroached and we are going to take back the. It is impossible. So the legal remedy is not so easy. Yes, we can at least save the existing lands and lakes and the public properties from not being encroached, for not allowing them not to encroach. That we can do, but we cannot. How they almost even temples, churches, and everything have been encroached, have been built on encroached lands. So how we are going to face all this? It is a difficult Herculean task, and at least one thing we can do. The court has already come heavily, and they have passed an order also recently that no encroachment should be allowed by the government, the ruling party, whichever. I mean, it came during the ADMK regime, and now the DMK government has to ensure
Right.
nobody encroaches these public properties, lands, this thing, lakes, etc., etc. That we can at least campaign, and
Right.
through Mirror Now, we can at least save these existing lands and rivers, lakes. That's what we can do. But we cannot do anything with the encroached properties, because already it has become buildings and huge, massive
Right. Right.
buildings.
Right, of course, Rajashekharan. I just want to quickly come back to Kasturi. I was going through this report which said that between 2017 to 2018, there were a lot of, about 48 kilometers to be precise, of drains that were built around, Chennai under the Smart Cities mission. Now, we are, of course, talking about a lot of waste that you rightly said that, even people are dumping a lot of plastic waste. But what about the drainage system also that's around the lake? Do you think that is something that city planners and, the smart city mission that is running in our country right now, where we're trying to bring up a lot of cities, do you think that there should be added focus on this aspect of saving lakes in a city like Chennai, which of course suffers from floods very often, has gone through a tsunami before, and we understand how important lakes and water bodies are for the city. So do you think there should be a change in the urban planning, the way things are planned at both the state and center level? Ma'am, I'm afraid you're on mute. If you could please unmute yourself so we can hear you and your views.
I said there is no problem with all the planning on paper. On paper, everything is perfect. In practice, everything is rotten. So, the question is really moot. Do you think that there has to be more focus on planning, and there's got to be more focus on execution on the state and the center level? All these are good questions to ask. The real questions to ask, the real actual questions that we need to ask are we going to at any point of time break free of the clutches of corrupt officials, corrupt politicians, and corrupt builders, as well as apathetic people? The only way that can happen is, number one, if there is a sea change, a huge disaster has to strike, that's when people generally start trying to make amends. So the floods, the two floods that Chennai city has seen, have resulted in people at least being a little bit more careful than before, even though builders have gone right back to doing what they're doing. A non-political body, see now Mirror Now, if they can identify and encourage non-political bodies full of altruistic people who will actually genuinely work for the cause instead of for a hidden agenda, then maybe we can keep hopes alive of seeing a cleaner Chennai and a little more of cleaner water in Chennai. As far as the stormwater drain system that you talked about under the smart city implementation, the stormwater drains are a big mess.
Right.
They started in the ADMK regime and a big mess, absolutely
Yeah.
big mess. The less said, the better. So they, at this point, the stormwater regimes, the only purpose they have served is to make some contractor's life a little bit more plush, line his bank account. That's about it.
Right.
They are a complete flop, disaster. In very few places, they actually serve the purpose they were built for.
Yes.
So right now they're all plastic storage facilities. That's what they have become, and sewer facilities. That's what
Absolutely,
they've become.
absolutely, Kasturi.
So
The
all
visuals
this-
are
all this-
disturbing,
yes,
and
yes.
we can see that, and which is why. And thank you, both of you, to come and share your views.
What
And
happened to Apsara Reddy? You never got her back on the show?
we couldn't patch her, Kasturi, so she was supposed to join us, but she didn't. However, if she would have been here, I'm sure we would have had a more interesting debate than what we just did. But thank you so much to both of you for joining me on this show. And we will now move